a lot of people they come in, they start trading, right? Because they see a lot of big movers and stuff. But this is just how the market works, right? Whenever something runs, it attracts a lot of people, it attracts a lot of eyes. That's just how it is. And when it starts slowing down, people will be like, nah, 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 I can't make profits and stuff. Doesn't matter. You should still be able to make profits, even with the market being hard or slow. Because I said before, the responsibility on making money should not be you, right? It should be on the stock going up. Your responsibility is only to manage your risk. That's all you have to do. If the trend doesn't break down, right? Leave the rest for more. It's that simple. And we'll go through a lot of the plays today. The trend did not break down. It was choppy, but the trend never broke down. So we talk about the first play, X4. Okay, so now the one thing about the market, right? One thing about the market is how's this? Okay, one thing about the market is you have to understand, right? You have to understand how the market reacts, right? You have to understand how the market reacts. You have to understand what actually drives the market, right? So we look back at whatever ran yesterday, which is the reason why even if you do not trade, it's also very good for you to just sit into the market, understand how the market works, understand what runs, understand what triggers the market, understand what actually pushes the market, right? That is what's gonna help you with X4 suspended. What happened? Oh shit! What the fuck? What happened? Maybe it's an offering news or whatever. Oh my God! No, cannot be. The hell's going on? What news is it? Okay, we'll get back to this later. But um, in any case, right? We want to understand what the market is moving on. Remember, we want to understand what the market is moving on. Correct? Correct? You guys agree? So let me ask you guys, right? Let's make this a little bit interactive, okay? What was running yesterday in pre-market? What was running yesterday in pre-market? Do you guys remember? It was EQ and Ento. And you remember during yesterday's review, what did I say? It seems like the market was very favorable, was favoring, right, the financing type of news, right? So we've got Ento, right? Financing news, remember? And Terra Pretty shares are trading higher after the company announced it secured 3 million through pre-funded and common orders. Right? But the idea over here is secured 3 million. Okay, and the EQ, Equilibrium, Aquilium had to raise up to 50 million through private placement, and the price and these two jump. You can see that these two caused a price jump, and it was one of the only runners happening in the market. Now, if you take that into context from yesterday and bring it into today, when you see nothing, look, nothing was moving in pre-market. For last I checked, I don't see anything moving, right? ATNF, ANTF wasn't moving. Or sorry, ATNF wasn't moving at all. It wasn't. It was just dying. Okay. So when I saw, right, when you see the X4 news come in, now first off, this is a low floater, number one. Number two, um, it's a low floater. Number two, it has news. What's the news over here, guys? X4 Pharmaceutical secures 60 million private financing, private placement in public equity financing. Isn't this a similar type of news to EQ and Ento? What do you guys think? Don't you guys think this is a similar type of news with EQ and Ento? Don't you guys think so? It's the same, right? So that's the reason why I took my position over here. Now, of course, the reaction for this was very different, right? The reaction for this was very different. It didn't just pump, right? It pulled back. But you see, this is where structure comes in. It's very important, right? This is where your structure comes in. It's very important. First off, alert was given over here 180 to 160. Okay, we never lost 160. Remember, we never lost 160 at all. All right, not once did we lose 160 today. You can see that we never lost 160 at all, not for the rest of the day. Now, when price started forming double bottom over here, I added more to bring my average down to 180. So I was sitting around 170s. And this time I was bringing my stop loss down to 153 because that 153, 155 level is my daily backtest level, right? It's a daily price action separation level, right? So you can see right here. Okay. Yeah. So I wanted to see if price can base on above this line, above this 153, which it clearly did. I wanted to see if price can base above this 133, which it clearly did. Right? You guys can see that. Price never even went to as low as touching this. So this is a good sign for me. So all I have to do right now is what? Let the chart play out. That's what I always say. Can you control the stock price move? You cannot. But it's very simple, right? If the trend does not break down, do you sell or do you ride? Simple, isn't it? If the trend doesn't break down, you don't sell, right? You take profits on the way up for sure. See, over here, we have price hitting that intraday resistance level, okay? Right? And it hit this. Obviously, I have to take it because, again, remember, this entire move over here, right? Not a guarantee, right? All this over here, not a guarantee. Price may just hit this level and break down. We've seen that happen many times before, right? So there's no excuse to think that, oh, this is going to do this. No. And remember, in the morning, we had the idea or the notion that the market is slow. So we have to go with that narrative. But ultimately, right? Ultimately, did we lose trend on export? Right? I told you guys to raise stops up, right? Because whenever something doesn't work out, all right, whenever something doesn't work out, whenever something works out, we take profits. But then after that, we want to raise our stop loss up to widen the to minimize the loss if it doesn't work out. And sometimes, your remaining shares just goes break even. So this way you can still retain a good part of your profits. Did we ever once lose 164, 165 after that? Remember, this is at 1103. Okay, 1103 candle is right here. Right? Did we ever lose 165 after that? Did the price ever even go down near that? So this is what I mean by when you're green already, okay, and then you want to go back to your day job, set your stop loss at 175, 165. Now I set a physical stop loss right now. When I'm in the trade, I don't, because I'll explain again later, right, with ADN. But if I'm green already, which we hit move to $2, right, I'm gonna set my stop loss at 165, which is a little bit below my entry, but I'm still gonna be green, right? I may give back some profits, but I'm still gonna be green. There has to be some form of risk. There has to be some form of risk involved over here. You have to risk some, right? At the end of the day, my stop loss is based on the chart. You always remember that. My stop loss is based on the chart. I would never ever have my stop loss based on what I feel like it's going to be. Unless, of course, I'm up a lot already. Like, for example, if I'm in the ATNF at $5, this thing right now is at $20. Then I can set my stop loss anywhere I want. I can set it at 10, I can set it at 15. It doesn't matter because ATNF, right, if it goes to 10, it's still 100% gain for me. Even if it gets stopped out, right, that stop loss is 100% green for me. So it's super stress-free. So this one is not as stress-free, but I have to respect the chart. And I may risk a bit some. I was in the 172, 173. I took profits out on the way to $2. I only have like 20% left, 15% left. So my remaining shares, I set my stop loss at 165. I may give away some profits, but 15% percentage should not turn you red. It shouldn't, because you have secured at least 80% of it. So for the remaining shares, I just had to ride it all the way up. I took more profits out at 240s. I took more profits at 260. We hit my levels. And right now it's halted. I don't know what's halted for. It could be for offering, it could be for news, it could be for whatever, right? It doesn't matter. But whatever the case is right now, I'm going to be green regardless. Even if, let's say, it's halted for an offering. If it opens up and drops, I'm still going to be green. I'm protected. I'm excited to see what this news is. But you see, my philosophy is very simple, right? And this is how, I've been trading. I've never ever changed the way I explain things to you guys. You guys know, I do not like to take a trade over here, sell here. Take a trade over here, sell here. I'm not that kind of trader, right? I like to find good potential sells for the day, take my entries, right? It goes up, I'll trim accordingly. But if it does not break trend, I hold. And then we see what the market does to it. And you can see, it's a nice move. For those of you guys who make your profits over here, you set your stop loss at 165, right? You go for your job. You come back, right now you check it, maybe you check it periodically around, let's say 2+, 3+ and stuff, right? I mean, what's so wrong about that? When you're working, your money's working for you too. So you're making both ways. It's stress-free for you. right? If it doesn't go, you get triggered at 165. Sure, you're still green, right? It's stress-free. This is a lot of it. And now, not only this, right? There was also PRPH, right? Where I kind of told you guys about buying the dips and selling the pop, right? So you see right over here, even, right? You guys may be asking me, how do I know where to sell and whatnot? We don't talk about the first one, right? We talk about the second one over here, right? How I have to update you guys. Trim zone will be 43s to 44s because there's a lot of rejection over there. And not only that, right? It was also because this level, 44 cents, is what? It's our daily intraday rejection. You don't need to go to the daily chart to find this level at all. I mean, you can clearly see on the 1-minute chart. Look at this. Did we have a candle close above this at all? Yes or no? We never did. Right? So if the price does not break up from 44 cents, then nothing has changed about the structure over here. Nothing. It's the same thing for X4, right? Initially speaking, during the initial push, you see that? During the initial push, it's the same thing. You guys see that? It's the same thing. Okay, then when we started breaking out from this, right? When we started breaking out, then okay, there might be some hope right now, right? Because this is showing strength. But did that actually happen with PRPH? It never did, right? It never did. Okay, but as per the plan, I grabbed something 40, stop loss on 35. I told you guys to buy dips and sell the pops. This was at 936. And I even told you guys that 43 to 44 would be a trim spot. Remember, at 936 was right here. Right? Was right here at 936. Price went up. You guys maybe added at 41s. Okay, price went all the way to 43s. Now remember, for me, I do not like taking these small hit moves, especially if it's 3 cents moves, right? This is absolutely ridiculous. So I told you guys, so long as 35 cents hold, right? Again, 35 cents is my daily backtest level. Buy the dips, we dip down to 38s and sell the pop. 43, 44 was trim zone, as I told you guys. This went perfectly to plan. Now, of course, when you see a hard rejection like that and a massive sell-off, right? Even though sure, price is staying above 35 cents right now, but price right now is weak, right? It's weak. So you might want to hold off into buying the dips over here anymore, right? And then see if it's worth taking it or is it just gonna break down? And over here it just broke down and that's it, right? The structure is done, at least at this point in time. If it starts to reverse later, then it's a completely different structure. But for now, as the price goes down like this, right, it's weak, right? Sure, even though it's near 35 cents, it does not mean it's going to bounce off. Remember, support does not last forever. It can break down. But you don't want to buy into weakness, right? Can you tell me if this is weak? Price goes down, form a wick, a long lower wick, which means that buyers are present, followed by a bullish engulfing candle over here. I mean, this is a great dip spots, right, for a pump. But price couldn't break off from this 44 cents level, right, as what it has been doing. Okay, and then if rejected down, you should trade profits because remember the notion that we have at this point in time is that the market is slow. We want to focus on the base hits first. And we have to respect the chart as well, right? So after that, when this thing couldn't break out and massive sell-off, even though it's holding above 35 cents, does it make sense for you to buy dips over here? No, not yet, unless you see some strength, right? Which we clearly never did. And then obviously we lost 35, I closed the rest of my shares. Okay, all right. We traded this a couple of times. The first one was in pre-market, right? From 42s to 45, 46. We hit exactly 46, right? But you see, it was slow. It was a slow day at the start. Before the algorithm started kicking on to all the low floaters, it was a pretty slow day at the start. So we cannot expect too much because it's the same, right, as yesterday. And we cannot control the market. Okay. All right, and I reminded you guys twice about the ATNF 630 breakout because this is the one that I told you guys to watch at the start in the morning, right? 630 break. So over here, told you guys watch the 630 breakout, stop loss on the 580. We'll go through that later. Now, ONDS, okay, so this is where adapting to the market is very important, right? Now, yesterday we've seen some movers, we've seen some movers and stuff, and none of them were really low floaters. I think the low floaters at that point of time, low floaters, the low daily average volume tickers are not doing that good, right? So I want to focus on something that has more fundamental value to it, which is what ONDS have. By the way, I'm no longer in this. We lost 390. I closed off the rest of my shares, right? But this is not something I usually touch because it's very heavy. The float's very big, right? The float is very big. The market cap is very, very big. So it's not something I usually touch, But on days like today, at the start of the market, when there was nothing worth worth touching, I would like to focus on fundamental setups like this, where this thing had a very good Q2 earnings, right? It was a sales beat, and then the financial year 2025 guidance was raised above estimates. So and plus ONDS is a pretty cult stock too, right? So once we have this downtrend breakout over here in the morning, okay, you can see it's very nice. I took my entries over here at 4.5, 4.06, 4.05. Stop loss is going to be under the 1 minute 200 EMA, and we got a nice slow grind up. It's not much. I was hoping to get more, but again, right, this is a very heavy float. You don't expect this type of ticker over here to be making 300-400% moves in one day, because structurally speaking, it's not in the right spot to do it. For those of you guys who understand what I'm saying, remember, float is the mass of the stock, right? And the heavier the mass is, the heavier the mass is, the harder the harder it is to move that a thing with heavy mass, right? You think about this: is it easier for you guys to push a 1 kg bag of rice, or is it easier for you to push a 20 kg bag of rice? Obviously, the 1 kg is easier to push. It's the same thing, right? The bigger the float, the harder it is to make explosive moves, and it's all this is what the float tells you, right? Which is generally why I usually do not touch big float. This is 154 kilograms, by the way. Right? I replaced the M with kilograms so you guys can kind of understand how heavy this thing is. You compare this to ATNF, right? ATNF is 86 kilograms. I don't think this is right. ATNF is a low floater. I don't think this is right. We look for something else. X4, right? We look at X4. Okay, this is 3 kilograms. Is 3 kilograms light, or 3 pounds for that matter? Is 3 pounds light or heavy? It's light, right? It's super light, right? It's super light. What about ONDS? ONDS is heavy as shit, right? It's not only just heavy, but the market cap is big as well. So there might not be that much room to grow, on an intraday basis. Okay, but for tickers like X4, all these are low market cap, low float, right? These are all having explosive. They have explosive potential, right? They have explosive potential. Okay, so that's that, right? That's one of the important things to kind of take note of. Okay, all right. So that's why, even though it's not a big move, okay, but hey, this is great base hits. Don't tell me it's not. It's great. The fact that we make a move to 430 plus, no, it's great. It's a great trade. For the market condition back then, it's a great trade. And of course, I would not be expecting ONDS to be making a 100% move again, because it's a heavy floater, right? It's like expecting oranges from an apple tree. It's never going to happen. So when you take this trade over here, your expectations have to be aligned to the structure of the stock, which is, you don't be aiming. That's why I keep saying old man setup, right? Old man setup, slow grinder, right? Because it's nothing exciting, right? It is nothing exciting. Okay, all right. So let's talk about RMBL right now. So RMBL's trade $3.13 to $3, stop loss at 295, 290 max. Looking for scalp to 320 and more. Now this is very simple. It runs on the same a thesis, right? It runs on the same thesis as ONDS. I think a lot of the moves over here has been moving on fundamental reason. Right? One example is going to be RMBL. Right here, you guys can see this ticker is running because of of earnings, right? Better than expected Q2 sales results. So remember, my thesis in the morning was that fuck the low floaters, right? Fuck the low low daily average volume tickers. I'm gonna be focusing on tickers that has good fundamental value, so that maybe those can cause the stock to move. As opposed to the low floaters, which hasn't been looking good since yesterday. Obviously, I wouldn't know what's going to happen next, but there's that factor right there. Over here for RMBL, right, we had an initial nice move, right? Price went down. I love the fact that over here you can see that price wicked off this 2 support. So price went down, forming uptrend. Price went up, broke through VWAP, forming wick. Price went down, touched this support level again. So in a sense, it's kind of like a head and shoulders, low head and shoulders pattern over here, right? And you can see over here, this thing base of support, candle form in super long wick. That's the reason why I took my entries over here at 3.1s. I think it went down to $3 for you guys as well. And we had a nice one to 350. All right, my stop loss is going to be underneath this trend line. You can see the moment this trend line broke down, this current structure is broken. All right, and then you have to wait for it to form a new set of structure, which seems to be formed, I think. Let me see. Right? Yeah, I mean, you can clearly see that there is a very nice uptrend, right? There's a very nice uptrend being established on the stock over here. Okay, but why did I not touch this? It's because there's no volume, right? The volume is clearly ATNF. So we didn't really see that much movement over here, midday. Okay, but it was a very clear setup, right? It has the same thesis as ONDS. Remember that at a point of time, there was no good quality tickers running. There was no good low float running. Situation is very similar to looking like yesterday. So why would I stick to the low floaters? And look, this thing also has a low daily average volume. So this thing has a low daily average volume 1. 2, it's not a low floater, but it's running on fundamental catalysts, which is the earnings. And it's great earnings according to it. Okay, all right. And then after that, we'll talk about ADN, right? We'll talk about ADN. Now, I think I mentioned this before, right? When I say stop loss under 240, it's mental. I never ever have a physical stop loss. Never. Unless I say I'm setting it. And I've said this many times before. And you guys can clearly see in my alerts, right? You can see the difference. Stop loss, I'm gonna set it. Okay, I have a physical stop loss set right now. But most of the time, it's just gonna be, right? If let's say if it's the initial trade, it's just gonna be stop loss under. Because I want you guys to understand that it's mental. And the reason why I'm setting a mental stop loss on plays like this is because the spread is very wide. Okay, it's not wide right now, but if you guys were looking at this at the start, right, the spread wasn't the greatest. So you might get, you see, someone reached out to me and said that they got the stop loss trigger and they sold their shares at 2.29 on ADN. Over here, on this candle drop, they sold their shares at 2.29. But you see, did we actually lose 240 on this? We never did. So if you set a stop loss, you're going to kill yourself. Right? You're going to end up killing yourself. You end up taking a loss for no absolute reason. Now look, price went down to 240 over here, correct? You're right. It is, right? Price went down to 240. But you see, is this really a breakdown to you? Does this look like a breakdown to you? Right, this might be because of the wide spread. Like the candle isn't forming as cleanly as it is. Because at the start, the spread wasn't the greatest. That's why I keep saying stop loss under, watch it actively. No one's telling you to set a stop loss. Please don't, because you're going to get, over here, this person got sold the shares at 229. When like, this never even lost 240. I could move it down, right? It's the same stuff. Okay, I could say stop loss under 237, 3 cents. Is that going to make a lot of difference for you? It's not. So watch the chart, right? Now at this point, okay, for ADN, right, if you want to set, right now, if you want to set a stop loss, sure, right? Because it is pretty buffered from where your entries are at, all right? Maybe even over here too. But at this point, when we're still in at 252, or maybe you guys even got the dips and stuff, there is no reason for you to set your stop loss. Did I say set a stop loss? Did I tell you guys to set a stop loss? Let me see, ADN, set. Nope, never happened. Right? Only over here, I told you guys set at 255. See that? But before that, did I say anything about setting a stop loss? Did I say anything about setting a stop loss? I never did. I have my reasons for it. I can't explain to you guys obviously when I'm learning because I want you guys to, get in first. And then you guys can learn from this right now. But the same thing, right? You see, even over here, there's 290 breakout, right? There's 290 breakout over here. Okay? Sure, price did lose 290 for a bit. Okay, but that might be because of the wide spreads. And if I were to be super accurate about this, right, I could say that 288 is the breakout instead. Because you can see this is clearly the same kind of concept with what was that ticker? What was that ticker in the morning? PRPH, right? Same kind of concept with PRPH. Okay, you can see that. Same kind of concept with X4, right? Now, if we look at ADN, I mean, look. You see? Do you see it? It's nice. 290, 288, is that a whole lot of difference for you guys? It's not. But I would say that it's still good to respect the levels. The only problem is that you don't want to set a stop loss, physical one, because you want to watch the price action around these levels. Because it's first off, the spread's wide. And the spread, when the spread is wide, sometimes you might get some leakage over here. Because maybe the odds is that like this 4 cent spread, it might cause it to look a little bit messy. But it's a guide, like I said. I never once told you guys, said this many times, right? Do not set a physical stop loss unless you have runners and you do not want to look at the position anymore. If you're in this trade and you have to go away for a meeting, you want to set a stop loss, I would highly suggest you to do it. Yes. Right? Because of course you never know what's gonna happen. Okay? But I would say don't set it too tight, right? Maybe just set a stop loss 285 or something. 284, 283 or something. So it gives yourself some buffer space in case of wicks. If it does get triggered, there's nothing much you can do because you do have to go for a work meeting. That's more important. But other than that, right, you can see. Do I really consider this as losing 290? I really wouldn't. It's not like this is a massive sell-off, right? It's a super low volume sell. That's why. Say it many times. Do not set a physical stop loss. It's like that guy. He got triggered. He sold his shares at 229, by the way. But over here, did we lose 240? We never did. To be honest, we never really did. It's all super low volume, widespread type shit. Widespread. When I talk about widespread, I'm talking about this, right? You can see ours is at 306, the bid is at 302. This is a 4 cent spread. I think it was even bigger earlier, right? So yeah. Okay, all right. And then last one obviously is ATNF. Okay, now ATNF. This one for me has always been a very explosive ticker. I don't think this is a 60 million float. Maybe it is. I may be wrong because I don't remember this being a 60 million float, to be honest. I'll be honest. I don't remember this being a 60 million float. It's kind of strange. This is strange to me. I thought this was a low floater because I always remember this being a low floater, right? I always remember this being a low floater. I don't remember this being such a expensive or high big float stock, right? So yeah, I know Weibo it's not accurate. Finviz not as accurate. The best is do dilution tracker, but I mean ATNF for me has never been like something that I thought was a big floater. It has never been like that, right? So I am kind of shocked by this. Um, so it's cool. It's a blessing in disguise. If I really like believe it to be heavy float, I probably wouldn't have touched ATNF. But I thought it was a low floater. Don't you wait, those of you guys who are trading for a really long time, hasn't ATNF always been a low floater? What happened? I always thought this was a low floater. I always thought so. But okay, whatever the case is, um, this ticker, right? This ticker is holding Ethereum. Just open an Ethereum treasury strategy. Okay, and obviously, Ethereum is going up as well. Now, why is this going crazy, but BMNR and SBAT isn't in terms of like the percentage? First off, one, this is cheaper, right? This is a cheaper option. Number two, this, all right, is a fresh mover on Ethereum. BMNR and SBAT is not fresh anymore because they have already made the move. So in terms of like fresh plays, this is one, right? This is definitely a fresh play over here. Right, this is definitely a fresh play over here. So now we want to look at key level breakouts, right? So why is 630 a key level breakout? All right, why is 630 a key level breakout? Now it's because go look at the daily chart. Okay, all right. Now, if you can see, it's pretty clear cut. 630 is the top of this gap that it created. Very big. Okay, very big. But it's right at the right smack at the top of this gap. You see that? This is 630. Well, 628. But you guys know my vibes, right? I like to round my shit up. So this is 630 over here. Okay? So once you break 630, and I mean you guys can clearly see, right? This 628 has been an issue throughout the entire day. But I like to round it up. This 630 has been an issue throughout the entire day. Right? So once we actually went past the 630, right? Once you actually went past the 630, as you can see, price broke up from 630 over here. It was a very small one, okay, but we consider this as it still broke out from it, right? And anyway, the whole point was to play around dips, and the reason why I did so, right, is because I understand today's market might be a little choppy. ATNF has a lot of range. And remember what I said this to you guys before, when the ticker has a lot of range, you also want to have some range for your stop loss, right? So that's why my stop loss is under 585. Now, it's not random. Let me see if I can find the alert. It's not random as to why I put my stop loss under 585. Let me see. 580. All right, it's not random, by the way. Okay, why 580? I see now earlier in the morning. Okay, I see a strong high lows creation over here. See that? I see a very strong high lows level created over here. Okay, now you can even go to as far down saying it's 578. It's completely fine, right? So that's why my stop loss is going to be underneath this level. Okay, I mean in terms of structure, you can clearly see there's a lot of price action separation within this zone as well, right? Somewhat speaking. But the most part, I mean, it might be a little bit choppy in the morning, but for the most part, when price is above, it trades a lot, and then when it's below, it trades below. You see that? Right? So this is a key defining level over here for me. It is. So that's why we had a nice move to 680s. I always trade profits because remember, there is no guarantee that this is gonna do this, right? No absolute guarantee. But what is my strategy? What do I always tell you guys? If the what doesn't what, do you sell everything? Right? What did I say? If the what doesn't what, if the trend doesn't break down, right? Play it off dips. And it's not like I don't tell you guys. Some tickers obviously you do not want to do it, but for this is a different case because Ethereum is going up. There's a lot of hype surrounding it. BMNR, SBET, you guys know that. And you guys can clearly see right over here, right? For ATNF, what did I say? Right? I said it was right here, right? Runners left. Sorry, no, it's not this one. Over here. 630 break just hit 682. Correct? So long as 580 holds, buy dips and sell pops. And then you guys are going to be asking me, but how do you know when to buy the dips? And we talk about this, right? This over here is 580. Okay? You see price selling off like that. Obviously, you don't want to buy it. But then you see price selling off, you form a long wick, and then followed by buying pressure. You can add your dips over here at 620s. Right? It still went up to 650 to scalp it if you want. And then over here, price went down. You see very nice wicks forming, nice buying pressure coming. You can get back into 610s again, and still have your stop loss on the 580. It's a pretty good risk, if you ask me. Right? It's a pretty good risk over here, no? Right? And considering the fact that you're already green. You understand? Right? So, and then from here, right? Did we lose trend? No. So just enjoy the ride up. We never lost trend. So just enjoy the ride up. I said this to you guys before. Never underestimate what leaving 20% of your position size can do. Right? Remember, let's put things into numbers, right? So you guys can kind of understand. If you have 200 shares, let's say you grab like 150 shares over here, 100 shares. Okay, let's say you grab 100 shares over here, and 20% is 20 shares, right? It's not a lot, but I'm trying to showing to you guys in the perspective of a smaller account. Okay, so over here, you have 20 shares left at 615, for example, right? Price goes all the way to 12 plus. Okay, so for 20 shares, you got a $6 move, all right? Or maybe let's say you sell at 11. Okay, you sell at 11. All right, you got $5 move. You have 20 shares. That's $100 of profits for you, right? That's $100 of profits for you. And don't tell me this is nothing because if you only have 20 shares left for your runners, it means that your account is small. How is $100 little? How is it little for you? It's still good money within the day, remember? And you don't have to do anything. You just sit inside and ride it. That's it. Isn't that like the dream? No? Right? Isn't like the dream? Right? I mean, you guys can think about it. It makes a lot of sense to me. You guys, once you guys start to understand how it works, then you will understand. If you left runners, good for you. You will understand what I mean by that. Okay, because this is gonna change a lot of your perspective, right? Think about it. 20% left, it goes to 11. You sell it all, right? That's a $5 per share move. You have 20 shares left. That's $100 of profits that you don't have to stress about, and it's $100 extra for your account size. I think that's pretty good. If you ask me, I think that is pretty damn fucking good. Not sure about what you guys think, but you guys can see what I'm trying to say over here. Okay, it doesn't have to be 11. You can sell at 10 plus 2. But what I'm trying to say is these 20% can can always help you guys out a lot, right? It goes a long way. Growing your account, giving your account the extra boost of growth. All right, it's the same for X4 as well. If you think about it, it's the same for X4 as well. Okay, all right. So that's the reason why. Okay, it's always good to leave runs when the trend doesn't break down. Right? Every single time when I'm in the play, the trend breaks down, I tell you guys, I'm getting the fuck out. But if it looks good, I'll get back in again. I've always done that. But did we lose trend for X4 today? Not once. Did we lose trend for ADN today? Right? Not once. Did we lose trend for ATNF today? Not once. So we enjoyed the ride up. That's all. Nothing complicated. Right? But when it loses trend, am I going to cut it? For sure. I've always shown that. Right? I've always shown that. Right? I have always shown that. Yeah, I've never once tell you guys that when they lose trend, I'm going to hold on to it. Right? So, yeah, that's it. Okay, so, I think that's pretty much it. All right, not much to talk about. Very good day, honestly, very, very good day. I was already done. Remember, I was already done by market open, right? We had very nice execution. We followed the market flow and everything like that. So it was very good. But then after that, ATNF broke out. It was nice. It had some Ethereum hype. I still have some runners over here left. All right, so let's see what happens. By the way, BMNR, I got some starters. All right, we hit 68, but because it's starter size, I'm not really caring too much about it. I will be building off dips. Right now, I'm kind of sitting somewhere near 62, 63's average over here. Okay, but this 15-minute chart for BMNR has been very impressive, right? We talked about this yesterday, right? This high lows hold on this BMNR. I mean, it's been holding like an absolute champ. Not sure you guys can see it. So to be honest, if 50, if the 15-minute chart does not lose this 55.50, technically speaking, right, we're still pretty okay. We're still pretty okay. And if Ethereum continues to go up, if this thing does not do stupid shit like offer and whatnot, then I think structurally speaking, we might be there to enjoy the move to the upside. But of course, this movement over here is very tied to Ethereum. So if Ethereum decides to crash, right, then this will crash too. No, there is nothing special about that, right? This is a given. Okay, all right. So if not, great day. And you see, this is why I always say, I don't come in just when the market's hot. I come in every single day. I put in the work. I let the market do the work for me. All I can control is my risk management. I manage my risk. The rest is left up to the market. Right? Your discipline and your daily consistency is what gets you paid, not coming in whenever you feel like it. Okay? All right. So let's see. Oh yeah, so X4 is halted. I don't know what the fuck's going on. I still have some shares over here, right? I still have some shares over here for X4. So let's see what happens. I mean, I'm hoping it's great news. I'm hoping it's not offering. I'm hoping it's like, they got a buyout offer for $10 per share. Let's fucking go. But I mean, I highly doubt that. We'll see what happens. Okay, but am I gonna be red over here? Even if they do an offering, right? It might be an offering, by the way. And then if this is an offering, when it unholds, it's probably going to gap down. But we take our profits on the way up. If you guys added this at 244, I'm sorry, but I did not tell you guys to do that. And if you guys added this at 244, you should have at least taken profit at 260, right? But this halt over here is pretty. Nobody can predict this. Okay, all right. Learning here for trading on the stock. X4 is broken below both the 21 EMA and 50 EMA and came to 200. It's okay the whole. I mean, okay, if you see on the 1 minute chart, it broke down over here, right? But overall structure is still fine. Because remember, the 1 minute has a lot of noise. Look at the 5 minute then. Did the 5 minute lose the 50 EMA? Did we? Did we lose the 50 EMA? You see? The 1 minute has a lot of noise, but I told you guys this before, right? When the stock, right? When a stock has a lot of noise, you want to use the 5 minute as well. Did we lose the 50 EMA in the 5 minute today? It was a very clear trend, right? So we just enjoy the ride up. No, honestly, I because this is halted for news. It's not really halted for offering. So I really don't know. Anything could happen over here. It could be an offering news. It could be a buyout news. It could just be the CEO coming in and saying that, oh, we are not too sure what's going on with this increased volatility on our stock. There is no news and whatnot. It could just be that. I've seen that happen before, right? When the stock has increased volatility, it's traded a lot of shares, right? The stock will be halted, and then the CEO will come in and just say, there is nothing going on that we know to cause this increase of volatility, and that's it. It could just be that. But to be honest, right now it's really anyone else's game. I mean, they did say that they announced a private placement, right? So this whole over here could be that the private placement is finally being done, right? It's finally being executed. Because this is just earlier when this news moved, it was just an announcement. It wasn't like they actually done it. So this halt over here could be they have done it, right? So yeah, could be a drop and stuff, but doesn't matter, right? We should be green. But again, like I said, if you guys added up here, it is pretty unfortunate. I did not give you guys re-entries over here anyway. If you lose the 50 EMA, does that mean you lose structure? Yes. I mean, for this case, yes. Right? There are some stocks that don't have that 50 EMA structure. You can see, right? This one for me is the 200 EMA structure instead. Right? It depends on what the stock is telling you, and you have to listen to it. Right? Not ADN did not have ADN has a 50 EMA, but it's only one bounce. So we want to see at least two bounce, right, to establish or to confirm a trend. So now we need to. This one over here has no trend at all. You see that? Very messy, right? So we have to use intraday support resistance lines and structure, daily structure to help us figure it out. But for X4, when there's a clear intraday trend, right, on the EMA, use that. Okay? All right, so I'm only holding on to my remaining shares on ATNF, ADN, right? Maybe a multi move. X4 I'm still in because it's halted, right? I closed off ONDS. I no longer have RMBL. I no longer have BTAI. I don't think this is done though. I'll be watching this again tomorrow. All right, I have some shares of BMNR, Jeep, and all these I'm not in. I'm just gonna watch it. Okay, it's fine. I will fucking revisit again tomorrow. I'm never afraid of missing out on plays, right? And being wrong. I'm afraid of chasing plays and being wrong. Right? So yeah. Okay. Yeah, all right. If not, I think today is do you trim manually when there's no, I trim manually. Yo, Mohammed, please go through. I've literally shown you guys how I actually do this. Right? I've literally shown you guys how I actually do this. I'll just give you guys an example. Okay. All right. You guys can see it over here. This is all like already gone through multiple times. Right? And it's like every single review I do it during the weekend. I want you guys to look at the screen over here. Can you guys see it? All right, this one. Okay, so this is just an example, but how I sell is going to be the same as how you guys you're asking. So let me show you guys. So you see, I have 300 shares over here, right? I'm gonna look at the chart. I see the chart goes up. I press sell 100. I sell 100. That's what I do. There's no manual sell, there's no sell limits and whatnot. And the reason why I told you guys not to do that is because imagine if you set your sell limit at 210, it hits 209 and it drops. It's fucking stupid to stay red because of a 1 cent difference. You see, I see a price, I like to sell it, I press sell. That's it. And then if I want to sell 10 shares at once, multiple times, I could do that too. Right? Look, okay, I'm gonna press sell. Right? I'm gonna press sell again. If it goes up, it goes down. I wanna do it. I'll just keep pressing sell. You can see that my share drops by 10, by 10, by 10, by 10, by 10 until I'm completely out. That's what I do. This is a limit order. This is the limit order. Yes, Webull can do this. It's called Turbo Trader. Webull can do this. It's called Turbo Trader. You should go check it out. Look. Samsung. Okay, again, part of your onboarding. All right, it's all already given to you guys. Please, there's a lot of good information over here for you guys. You guys just need to really go find it. Okay, if you scroll over here, you can see. All right, there you go. You can just click on this, and it will send you the link to what's gonna help you set it up. Okay, all right. If not, that's pretty much it. Yes, that was IBKR. That was IBKR. It's good. It's very good. Oh my God, ATNF. Let's fucking go to 1520. Maybe this is the next BMNR, huh? Let's fucking go. Man, I can't believe this is such a heavy floor. I thought this was small. That's why I was like, damn, this is like normal. This move over here is normal. I never expected this to be